We'd like to welcome you to the Donnie Glover Show. We have one fascinating interview with you today. We're going to speak with Alexandria Warwick Adams. She's the executive director of Elev8 Baltimore. Stay tuned. I'd like to welcome you back to the Donnie Glover Show. We have with us today Alex Warwick Adams. She's the executive director of Elev8 Baltimore. Alex, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Donnie, for having me.
What is Elev8 Baltimore?
Yeah, Elev8 is a local nonprofit that partners with schools, families, and the community to ensure that every student is prepared for high school, college, career, and life.
Why is that important?
It's important to ensure that young people are adequately prepared for every transition in their life. It is not just enough for young people to graduate and move on to the next grade level, but for them to be adequately prepared, both academically, socially, and emotionally.
So this is to supplement what students are already receiving in terms of the curriculum in Baltimore City Public Schools?
Absolutely. It's a supplement to the curriculum, but it's also a strategy in which we do the work.
Are you not pleased with Baltimore City Public Schools?
I'm not pleased when young people are graduating at reading below an 8th grade level. I'm not pleased when young people don't have the ability to obtain a family-sustaining wage job post-graduation. I'm not pleased when young people don't have the adequate supports when they are being traumatized and re-traumatized on an everyday basis. So am I pleased with the educational system? No. Am I a partner to that system? Because I know that it's important to ensure in partnership that we are improving the lives of young people and communities. So absolutely.
Parents, how important are parents to this formula?
Parent engagement is extremely important, and it's engagement in all kinds of ways, understanding that engagement is a two-way street. It is not just a one-way vehicle for schools to push out information to families, but it's also for families to give that information back to schools. Ultimately, they are the customers of schools, right? The young people and the families are the school's customers, so they should be actively involved in that process.
And how important are the principals?
Leadership, nothing can go forward without appropriate leadership and without a visionary leader. So principals are extremely important. Partners are extremely important as well, because we can't do this work alone. We have to work in tandem to ensure that every young person is ready to move on to the next stage.
Tell me some of the schools that you have Elev8 Baltimore in.
So Elev8 partners with 22 schools and programs across Baltimore City. We partner with schools like New Song Academy, Sandtown Winchester Achievement Academy, Cecil Elementary, Baltimore Montessori, Arlington Elementary, the historic Cherry Hill Elementary, Eager Street Academy. We also partner with Claremont and Wolf Street Academy in City Springs. We have schools all across the city.
How long have you been doing this, Alex?
Elev8 was launched in 2009. I actually was part of the original team that worked really hard to bring the strategy to Baltimore. I've been doing this work now for almost 25 years, both as a student when I was an undergrad and also as a professional.
You don't look a day over 25, Alex.
I appreciate that, Donnie.
So when you think of a community like Sandtown and Harlem Park, recently you're seeking to find a new senior director of engagement. How's that search going? What are you looking for in that senior director?
Yeah, so Elev8 was blessed to be one of 27 grantees through the Governor's Office of Children with the Enough Grant program, which gives us the ability to have dedicated resources for a place-based strategy to improve the lives of children and families in community using a strategy that ultimately will eradicate childhood poverty. And we're hiring the Senior Director of Place-Based Initiatives, and we're really excited about that. I'm looking for an individual who can connect with community, who understands the importance of collective impact, understanding the educational system, knowing how to work with other nonprofits, that has a collaborative spirit.
You know, at the interviews, I saw how social media is used to help expand your message.
Yeah.
How would you see social media its impact on the nonprofit world?
It's a way to engage with community. I think one of the things that we do a disservice to families and to community is thinking that engagement happens only in person. Engagement can happen in all kinds of ways, and social media is a good example of how we can connect organizationally with communities and families in a way that's comfortable for them. It would be disingenuous of me to say that if you don't show up, you're not engaged in the community. If you don't show up, you're not engaged in your child's education. It just means that you're managing multiple priorities, and it's my obligation to find ways of connecting with you in strategic and creative ways.
Alex, tell me about the trauma that our young people bring with them to school.
I think the trauma that young people bring every day is generational. One, that, in Baltimore, we are the home of systematic redlining and racism, and how that has impacted community. These young people grew up in those environments. Their families, their parents attended the same schools. They had the same educational hurt that their families experience. So they're having that same reemergence of the same trauma over and over again, and then overlay that with hunger, chronic homelessness, young people that are being bullied, and all of those things are traumatizing young people. And then also, let's not forget that they're going through regular developmental cycles of a young person's brain. So they're managing all of these external factors while still dealing with the biology of growing up. And so it's hard for young people. And for adults, we have these very odd memories that don't remember what it's like to be 13 in an 8th grade or a 9th grade and are challenging the world around us. And then our parents are saying things like, well, you can't talk back to adults. You can't be disrespectful to people, but challenge is absolutely developmentally appropriate, and we want young people to challenge the world around them.
I have a surprise question for you.
Yeah.
Baltimore has a burgeoning Latino population.
Yeah.
What do you do with that?
We lean into those experts. Elev8 is an organization that has primarily supported communities of color, that being Black communities. But we have expanded our school partnership to ensure that we are working with school communities that need an organization like us. So Wolf Street Academy is a school that has a high concentration of young people and families that are newly immigrated to this country. Some of them documented, some of them undocumented. And it's really important to us to lean into that tradition, those cultures. I'm half Mexican American myself. My mother is first generation American. So I know what that looks like and what that feels like to be part of a community that maybe not fully understood, but wants to be a part of what we consider the American dream.
If you could wave a wand, how much money would Elev8 Baltimore need right now? Someone could send you a check.
If somebody could send us a $10 million check, we would have a fighting chance of getting a running start on eradicating childhood poverty in the communities in which we're working in. And I say a running start, not that we would be able to eliminate it, because again, we're talking about systematic failures of a community, not just one thing, not just the educational system, not just the employment system, not just the housing system and the infrastructure that we have to currently live in. It's all of those things have to together work in tandem. And then also transportation. Folks have to be able to get to where they're going. Folks have to be able to have healthy food in their community. We have to be able to go back to a community where we are not just leaning on the police department to police us, but that we are policing ourselves and that we're holding each other accountable because we are in community with each other.
Any thoughts on the Sandtown? This is 10 years past Freddie Gray, 10 years later. We've lost a school. They're going to transform Gilmore, I understand, into maybe some type of recreation facility. But any thoughts on Sandtown? That's where I live.
Sandtown is a magical place. I love Sandtown. It was one of the
Do you?
I do. It was one of the first communities when I first moved to Baltimore that I did work in. And I remember it fondly 20 years ago when I was walking the streets having my first chicken box. What I would say is 10 years later, What we've learned is we cannot allow white philanthropy to just drop money into a community and then accept that drop as if that is going to be a reconciliation or reparations for the harm that has been caused to a community. What we really need to do is ensure that whatever resources come into a community like Sandtown have community control, so that community is fully bought in and they are honored, their lived expertise is honored in the process.
You know, one of the things, Alex, we've seen over the past 25, 30 years is what I call poverty pimps.
Yeah.
How do you protect the reputation of Elevate Baltimore? How do you guide them in such a way that the community doesn't see you as just another entity coming in to take advantage?
So I'm a bulldog when it comes to protecting community. I just don't let any organization come through Elevate to gain access to community. Things like we would like to do a survey in said community or said school. The first thing I say is, what for what? I ask those critical questions. And because I sit in a space of privilege to be at the table with many of those organizations, my pushback and challenge is managed differently than if community says, no, we don't want to do this. They're seen as oppositional. My pushback sometimes is seen as oppositional as well, but the reality of it is everybody in this city knows that I fiercely protect young people and I fiercely fight and protect the communities which we support and partner with.
Final thought.
Final thoughts
Yes.
is, Elevate is a dynamic organization that really works hard to identify creative and innovative approaches to ensuring that students are prepared for, life. And, we do that through our after school programs. We do that through our exciting summer program, the Elevate Freedom School Initiative, which we are extremely proud of to be one of the only Black organizations in the city to write our own curriculum and to have it going through a process where it is going to be peer reviewed and then ultimately land into a space where we could use it as a fundraising mechanism. So excited about that. Stay tuned to Elevate, follow us, connect with us. We need you. We need everyone. We can't do this alone.
Good deal. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Alex Work Adams. This is the Donnie Glover Show. Stay tuned. Don't forget to RSVP to Black Wall Street, the Madison 801.eventbrite.com. We'll be celebrating Black entrepreneurs and professionals, as well as the people who support them regardless of race, at a brand new restaurant, sit down, upscale in East Baltimore. Shout out to Sharif and to Sydney, his lovely wife, 801 North Chester Street. So go to Black Wall Street, the Madison 801.eventbrite.com. All right, we'd like to welcome you back to the Donnie Glover Show. We have with us the one and only Charlie Duggar. Years ago, back in 1980, long before we got to television, Charlie took me on WEAA. I think Mary Carter Smith was there, and also WEBB. I remember Henry Sampson. Did I get it right?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show.
How you doing, sir?
Good. Tell them who you are, Charlie.
I'm a Baltimorean, 77 years old, grateful to be on the planet still. I came out of Henry Highland Garnett Elementary School, Booker T. Washington Junior High School, Baltimore City College, Howard University for my bachelor's, and Morgan State University for my master's. I tried to work on a doctorate briefly, but it was starting to bring in technology more and more, and I didn't want to really go for that too much.
Now, you're known all over town for your Harambe splash parties, for the calendars that you do featuring the artwork of our beloved brother, Cocky McQueen.
Robert Cocker, yes, sir.
You ran for mayor of the city of Baltimore, but I think everybody knows the famous one-liner about you at East North Avenue. What is it?
I really don't know.
30 seconds, Mr. Duggar.
Oh.
Why do they tell you 30 seconds, Charlie?
Well, as a public school teacher and listening to the earlier interview, the wonderful energy of the young sister, that not only as a teacher, but I would just go as a concerned human being, since I did a lot of things on my own with young people. So I would sign up at least 2, if not 3 hours, not just me, but that was the procedure. Sign up 2 or 3 hours ahead of time to get 3 minutes to speak, and that they might even tell you, because they had so many preliminary things before the community comment time, that you may not even be able to get in. But I would take as much time as I possibly could over the years. Sometimes they threatened me with arrest. They banned me for a significant period of time for even coming to the school.
Why?
Well, because just like, sadly, I was moved to a number of schools that gave Baltimore 46 years in middle and high schools, but you speak out and speak up. And we want to see more parent involvement, because they went from a PTA, Parent-Teacher Association, changed that one letter to a PTO, Parent-Teacher Organization, and partnered that with a group called the SIT Team, which helped undermine parent involvement. And so some of us felt it still was our definite duty to come and speak to the community and to the people, the powers that be, saying more extracurricular activities. You know, some of my latter years, testing became the thing. So we weren't even teaching a body of knowledge information. We were teaching testing so that our school could look good. You know, when George Bush came through with not one child left behind, that's when we had, if you had too many children absent from school, if you had too many children failing tests and you were poor performing in school, they could shut you down. So sadly, like in Atlanta, in some places, teachers and administrators actually fudged the data because they didn't want to get shut down, and they felt that their mission was being jeopardized, so they weren't always forthright as they should be. If you had too many fights and too many suspensions, you were deemed a dangerous school, and they would shut you down. And so, again, we began to make excuses for bad behavior. I retired at the age of 70 back in 2018. I would have gone farther, but behavior had become so serious that some of the parents hated me because I was a mean man. But I didn't tolerate the disrespect. I mean, I would do many supplemental things. We'd do yoga, take them canoeing and kayaking, have a drama club, etc. But during class time, we can't keep calling your name over and over again, 20, 30 other people just sitting there. After a while, it's erosive, because if you get all the play and attention, then why do I have to behave? It's sort of like what social promotion did also. You know, the John didn't come or Malik didn't come, but the administration said, pass him, you know. And so they began to, the good students stopped wanting to be good because they knew you weren't doing anything and you were passing, or you were getting all the attention as a disruptive child. So, you know, those were the kinds of things, even going back to the school board, you would speak to. Why are you doing this? You know, Carter G. Woodson wrote a powerful book, The Miseducation of the Negro, where he says that you can educate a person so well, miseducate a person so well that they will go to the back door automatically, and that they will make a door, you know, if it isn't a back door, okay? But he wrote a beautiful book even before that called The Education of the Negro prior to 1861, where he talks about how good white people and good black people brought the light of education to our people. And, you know, we did phenomenal things. Well, you remember right after the Civil War, we had a black United States Senator, he had Blackburn in the House of Representatives, so we were shining. We had a black mayor of Wilmington, who was killed in 1900. So, and we found out that with Black Wall Street or with Rosewood or with Wilmington's success, the whites didn't want us to be successful, and they became angry because we were thriving and striving. We were indeed succeeding. And so I think that they have purposely undermined public education, because it's a wonderful experience when you have all of these people mixed together.
I got to get this one question in.
Yes, sir.
Mass incarceration. As a youngster, you took us to visit the brothers behind the walls. Is that still important?
Yes, but that got tricky, Brother Donnie, because one of my real dear friends, he's now dead, Marshal Eddie Conway, who did 43 years, I think it was, for a crime he didn't do, was very active with the Black Panther Party, and was real serious, brother, organized. A lot of the brothers in the institution said it's doing time, use your time. And so he had a group similar to like a 7-step program, but they were writers' club, and they would invite me in to bring young people. But some of the young people got fascinated by how that old prison environment was, and some of them later, wanted to be a part of that. But it had its purpose. But greater than that, I met a beautiful brother named Leon Manker, who was with the Left Bank Jazz Society's prison connection. So we began to go into penitentiary, then the House Correction, then a whole lot of institutions, bringing poets and drummers, same kind of things we would do for Marcus Garvey Day or African Liberation Day. We did it in the institutions, and it was very uplifting. And then I had basketball teams with a brother named Vernon Walsh. He had a wonderful parks program called Project Survival, and then later with BNBL, Baltimore Neighborhood Basketball League. So I would begin to take teams in the institution, be it like Maryland Training School for younger brothers, or, to the House Correction, to penitentiary, to Hagerstown, where it might be.
I just wanted to say thank you.
Yes, sir.
I know you can go on for days, but I wanted to at least
to get people involved. See, that's what we have to do. People raised us with two good, beautiful bookends, limitations and expectations, right? And that's what we must have. So then we can look at Kunta Kinte putting the baby up, saying, behold, the only thing greater than ourselves. Because once you give those two things to young people, and then we also stress, why do we teach them when they're young? We teach you when you're young because your mind is so sharp and fresh. So if you have this cup here, empty cup and a filled cup, and that's on one of our calendars, why would you want to be empty? Why would you not want to have, fulfillment? I mean, that becomes the thing that we have really cheated our young people with. I saw some men, my wife was sick in the hospital, right? And I saw some men laying in bitter cold days some time back. Laying out in the shade, I said, man, I kept talking to him for a couple of days, still wouldn't act there. I said, you alive or not? Get up, bro. They got cold blue, etc., right? I said, but your joints are going to get angry with you one day. I said, do you know you have joints? And you cheating because they were relatively young, that later on you're not going to be able to move. But we have to make them understand the basic things. Why would you not love yourself, all of yourself?
stay tuned to the Donnie Glover Show. We'll be back.
Glover Show, be more news.
Join Donnie Glover and BMoreNews.com for another Black Wall Street at the Madison 801, featuring the Joe Mann's Black Wall Street Awards. Wednesday, March 19th, 2025, from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. at 801 North Chester Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21205. BMoreNews.com.
Baltimore and DMV, Donnie Glover and Be More News presents Be More News Branding Bootcamp, a small business masterclass featuring Erica Alston Buck, Andy Pierre, Calvin Watkins, Marcel Humphrey, and Kenny Brown. That's right, March 15th, 2025, from 11 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. Get your early bird special tickets now at BMoreNews.com for Be More News Branding Bootcamp, a small business masterclass presented by Fox and Lion Communications in conjunction with BMoreNews.com.
We'd like to welcome you back to the Donnie Glover Show. We have with us now Jada Jackson, an alumni of Western High School. Jada, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Elev8 Baltimore. You were a participant when you were in school.
Yes, sir.
How did it make a difference in your life?
It showed me a different type of life. I knew about college, but I didn't really know that I can go to college. So having learning coaches that went to school and where I was coming from and experienced the same experiences I had was very enlightenment, and it showed that I can do it. I can go to college, I can do this, and I don't have to be a bad product of my environment per se.
How do we better reach young people? I think we have failed, and I want to say on behalf of older people, I apologize. What can I do to correct? We failed you.
I would say, for me, working with younger kids, I try to put myself back in their shoes. Definitely when situations happen, how would I handle this if I was 15? How would I handle this if I was 13? What emotions that I was feeling? I try to tell my learning coaches that too. Were you doing? You was doing the same thing what they was doing when you was that age. So you got to have a little more compassion of they're kids, they're growing, and they're not going to know it all. And at one point, you were a kid and you didn't know it all.
You were saying that one of the things was emotional intelligence, emotional learning. What is that?
It's just basically learning how to not control your emotions, but explain your emotions. And understand that it's okay to have big emotions, little emotions, all type of emotions. Just know how to control them and understand that those moments are just moments. They don't last for a long time. They shouldn't make or break your life, or don't make a decision off of a strong emotion.
Jada, if you were mayor for a day, what would you do? Mayor of Baltimore.
I would have more outreach.
Look in the camera. Tell them what you would do. We gonna run you for mayor.
I would have more outreach, like stuff that for kids to have, like have a safe space, have a trusting adult, just have somewhere to go to be themselves without having to be judged, feeling like they're gonna get in trouble just because they having a situation. Like just because something happening, a lot of kids don't feel like they can't tell an adult because they feel like they're gonna get in trouble even though they were right or wrong.
Tell me about Miss Alexandria Warwick Adams. Is she a good leader?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's you don't really see a lot of people that look like you. And if you see Alex, me and Alex literally have the same hairstyle right now. So it's a difference from like working with other people, like working at Target, or like the way me and even how I got back into Elev8 was crazy because I was just at Target. Alex came up and I'm like, I'm trying to get a job at Elev8. Alex was like, oh, no problem. Gave me the card and she let me handle it from there. She trusts us, and she trusts us. And even when she comes to the site, a lot of people are like, oh, it's Alice. And I'm like, well, Alice, can you help me? And I always say, like, Alice still sees me as 14. And I love that because, like, I'm 26 years old, and knowing someone from 14 and pouring into me and not like, oh, you should be doing this, or just like, no, Jada, you can do this. Like, don't be scared. Say something to them. Like, this is your position. This is why I place you in this position. You have my permission to go be great.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years.
Mayor of Baltimore. Okay. Principal?
I don't know. I don't know, running a nonprofit probably.
PhD,
definitely. Definitely probably running a nonprofit though.
I'm sure your family's very proud of you. I already am.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Jada.
Dude,
and thank you for coming on the
problem.
show.
Thank you.
Wow, we've talked to Charlie Duggar. We've talked with Alex from Elev8. We've talked to Jada. Testimonial, a success story. Stay tuned to the Donnie Glover Show. Education is so important. I want to take a moment and thank the teachers from my life. Dorothy Williams, Frances Parks, Mrs. Nottingham, Kermit Williams, Catherine B. Orange, she now runs Arena Players, Miss Hall, both of them were up at Lamel. Mr. Peltzer used to throw yardsticks at us down in the basement of Lamel, all the way through to Polly and to Dunbar, especially Estella Ingram and Miss Woodley, my homeroom teacher, Dan Maurer, who pushed me to write, LZ Gladden, first PhD in education from Morgan State University. Ashe, and thank you to all of our educators who give enough concern such that we don't end up in somebody's penitentiary. On the walls of Dunbar in 1983, there was a poem written on the wall. It was anonymous, and it goes like this. We read in the papers and hear on the air of killing and stealing and crime everywhere. We sigh and we say as we notice the trend. This younger generation, oh, where will it end? But can we be sure that it's their fault alone? Are we less guilty who place in their way so many things that lead them astray? Too much money, too much idle time, too many movies of passion and crime, too many books not fit to be read, too much evil in what they hear said, too many children encouraged to roam, too many parents who won't stay at home. Kids don't write the movies, they don't write the books, they don't paint gay pictures of gangsters and crooks, they don't make the liquor, they don't make the laws, they don't make the cars, they don't make the bars, they don't make the drugs that muddle the brain. That's all done by older folk, greedy for gain. Delinquent teenagers, oh, how we condemn the sins of the nation. We blame on them. But by the laws of the blameless, the Savior made known. Who is there amongst you to cast the first stone? For in so many cases, it's sad, but it's true. The title delinquent fits older folk, too. Again, special thank you to Ronnie Griffin and the Frank Johnson Media. My name's Donnie Glover. Do check out BMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. See you next time.